Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting of the Finance Committee to order, please. I apologize for my hoarse voice. David, are there any public speakers?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have 6 public speakers today. The first speaker is Andrew Pollack, who will be followed by Murray Bowden.
I forgot I signed up first. Right. So, we're all not doing so well, huh? Sarah's coming off a cold, I'm coming off a cold, and Larry's still in the neck brace. Well, let's stick to the agenda. First of all, I was watching Metro North this morning, and President Rinaldi gave a very good report. However, I want to mention that I would like to hear about more station ambassadors at Yonkers, because it is a very busy station on the Hudson line, and I feel that Yonkers should be getting enough attention as what President Rinaldi brought up earlier this morning. Now, one other thing I want to bring up. This morning, I was on the E train. I didn't have any heat in the car this morning, 9169. I was very annoyed when I felt the vent that was blowing out cold air. So please make sure by tonight the heat is on, because it is going to be record low tonight, 22. Supposed to hit a record low tonight, and the real feel is going to be in the single digits. But my main point I want to bring up is Merlon Avenue. I want to thank everybody who has reached out to me on Twitter at Andy's Randomness regarding Merlon Avenue's situation with the parking lot. Now, I am very familiar with both Merlon Avenue and New Hyde Park. And recently in New Hyde Park, there has been an issue where there was construction, and it took away the parking spaces in front of the station house. So where have people ended up going? Merlon Avenue, of course. And I've been getting complaints from people that the lighting is not accurate in the parking lot. And one person even reached out to me saying they almost fell because it was so dark. So I'm hoping that the lighting in the parking lot at Merlon Avenue can improve, because one day you could have a safety hazard, and that will not be a good thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Murray Bowden, who will be followed by Jason Pinero.
The changes coming to the MTA are so excellent and so fast, it's impossible to keep up with them. The new hires that you're hiring, qualified, expert. The people who've been here a while, people like me, are going to find it difficult to see how much you've changed for the better. I used to stand up here and have a litany of what needed to get fixed. No more litany. You've got the employees that know how to fix it. It's going to take some time, and more people have to recognize just how excellent both the board has become and the leadership has become, and the new hires you have gotten. I want to thank you all. There is a new culture of listening that didn't exist before. People are listening, accepting, and making changes. It needs to be publicized just how quickly you're moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jason Pinero, who will be followed by Matt Kemper.
Hi, Larry. I hope that you are feeling better. Let's see what I'm going to talk about. Let's say yesterday was Veterans Day. And those veterans who depend on the system don't have a discount. Just like H.P. Schroeder brings it every single month doing the full board, why not take off our budget 2 cents and separate it for our veterans? Despite the fact that yesterday we honored them for their service, but we should honor for their service every single day. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You know, Larry, we saw an event near my neck of the woods in downtown Brooklyn. 1,000 people jumped the turnstile at Hoyt Skimmelhorn. How much money we lost there, we don't know. But Philadelphia has a solution to that. And that's something that we could take a look at. And I know that you mean money and spend it wisely, but why not look outside the box? Look what other entities are doing to reduce spending, overspending. Keep things within budget or under budget to see if we could get out of the hole. And I think that we should get out of the hole as soon as possible. So I'll see you guys later at CPARK.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Matt Camper, who will be followed by Brad Brashears.
Good afternoon, members of the Finance Committee. My name is Matt Camper, and I'm an advocate for the MTA and along with an LIRR rider. This afternoon, there is something that I want to address, and that is regarding the LIRR with the temporary platforms that occur at Kew Gardens, Forest Hills, Woodside, Hollis, Queens Village, and along with Hillside Support Facilities for railroad employees only. I've been noticing, especially at Kew Gardens and Forest Hills lately, and Hillside Support Facilities, that people have to be in the first car, first door, just to get off the train onto the temporary platforms and even onto the train, which causes overcrowding conditions in the front of the train, and it's just outrageous that I don't see that. I understand it used to be where they had, I think it was something like the first car, something like that, and I feel that something needs to be done about this. I feel that it's time that you guys look into the possibility of looking into getting more temporary platforms, even if it means spending more money to get them. I am in favor of that. I feel it is very important that us as LIRR riders be able to more spread out. And even a suggestion I have is have the first two cars. It would be much easier than having people cram into one car just to get off a train. And that would be my suggestion. I really would like to see something like that in the future. And if you could please look into that, that would be really much appreciated for me and my fellow riders. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Brad Brashears, who will be followed by Omar Vera.
Good afternoon. My name is Brad Brashears, speaking today on behalf of the New York City Transit Riders Council about fare evasion and the importance of making data-driven decisions. Fare evasion has become an MTA money drain, with 2018 losses at $225 million and year-to-date 2019 losses already at $300 million. Smart, data-driven decisions must be made to address it, and transparency is integral so that all stakeholders can understand why decisions are being made. For example, last month, board member Robert Lynn pointed out that just 5 bus routes, all in a single borough, have high fare evasion rates that cost the agency $27 million, the same amount as the top 50 subway stations. It would seem most efficient to prioritize focusing on these bus routes, which have still not been publicly identified. We encourage the MTA to work collaboratively with local elected officials to evaluate the place-specific data and come up with solutions to dramatically reduce the problem. In addition to asking that you identify the boroughs and routes or stations with the highest fare evasion, we would like to know if fare evasion is tied to the rates of the following: bus riders entering through the rear door due to front door overcrowding, bus riders far from MetroCard machines, denied entries because subway turnstile MetroCard readers are not clean, bidirectional turnstile overcrowding making an open gate door entry more appealing, out-of-service subway MetroCard machines, and simply not being able to afford the fare. If these are contributing factors, some possible solutions could be providing an earlier Omni rollout targeted to the most affected fare evasion areas, providing more service on bus routes to reduce overcrowding, and making fare evasion ads more effective, including providing fare fares information. There is much to uncover here, but we will only know if we are on the right track if you open up the data on fare evasion and let everyone be part of the solution. Then stakeholders can know if the right decisions are being made and trust in those solutions. Fare evasion hurts everyone and could be a contributing factor in possible service cuts, which nobody wants to see. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker is Omar Vera.
Good afternoon, MTA Finance Committee. It's the first time talking here in a while. So, let's get to business, shall we? Let's talk about those fares. Those fares again are way too high. Instead, we need to lower it back down to $2, the way it was prior to 2009. That's $2 is a fair deal. But the reason why you keep doing this every 2 years is simple, because the state politicians and the municipal politicians, all they like to do is leech money from you guys and fund their own pet projects, like the corrupt Sheldon Silver's Fulton Center. That was his idea, but he leached too much money out of you guys for that. And that's of course a major reason why service has been abysmal, beyond abysmal. True, you're making some improvements since 2017, but make no mistake, 2017's crisis was basically a culmination of like 2 decades of neglect. And so basically the politicians should all look at themselves and be ashamed of themselves. If they want to stop fare evasion, if they want to like improve service, they should support fair fares, increase funding by 1,000 times, not kidding, and make the fare back to $2. Thank you, and we'll all see each other Wednesday for the grand finale for this round. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes the public speaking section.
Thank you, David.
Okay. Before the approval of the October 21st minutes, please note that a minor correction was made to the September 23rd minutes that does not require a revote.
Does anybody have any corrections or changes they want to make to the October 21st minutes?
Larry, on page 15, under overtime task force update, I think you were referring to CompStat, not ComStat. So
Correct.
you might want to correct that.
Correction noted. I didn't make that mistake. With that correction noted, I'm going to make a motion to approve the October 21st minutes. Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. David, can you take us through the work plan, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there are no changes to the work plan this month. Moving on, Budget Watch, consistent with prior years, there's no Budget Watch presentation in November. On Thursday, November 14th, Bob Ferram will present to the joint session of the Finance Committee and the full board the 2020 final proposed budget with the November financial plan for 2020 to 2023. Next is Finance Watch, which can be found in Section 4, page 29, and Marcia Tanian will take us through it.
Hi, good afternoon. And just to go over a few of the transactions that we had. We had 3 remarketings. 2 of those were dedicated tax fund remarketings, and they were converted from SIFMA FRNs to weekly variable rate bonds, both with a letter of credit support by PNC Bank. And also the Transportation Revenue Bonds Subseries 2012G-1. That was also a floating rate note, and that was converted to a daily variable rate bond with support by a letter of credit by Barclays Bank. We also had a refunding, the 2019D Transportation Revenue Bonds refunding. That was had 1 tranche subseries that was tax-exempt bonds and 1 tranche that was taxable bonds, and we had an all-in true interest cost of 3.62% on the whole series. We do have a few upcoming transactions, and that'll be TBTA new money, TBTA remarketing, and a small transportation revenue ban, and Pat McCoy will report on that in December. We also did have a fuel hedge executed, and that was $2.8 million at an all-in price of $1.842 per gallon. And that's it for Finance Watch. I'm happy to take questions. Okay, thank you.
The next item is MTA HQ and all agency items. There is 1 action item this month, the Energy Services Program Agreement between the New York Power Authority and the MTA.
Any questions? I'm going to make a motion. Can I have a second, please? Second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. Chair, I recuse myself from that item.
Okay.
We next move on to MTHQ and all agency items. There are 3 reports and information items. The first item is a station maintenance receivable update for the period of April 2018 through March of 2019. The total amount billed was $171,808,400 and was received in full as of September 30th, 2019. The balance due in the amount of $21,685 from Nassau County for the prior period of April 1, 2017 through March 31, 2018 was received on January 16th, 2019, and Noemi Lopez is here to take any questions if you have any. Moving on, the next item is the review and assessment of the Finance Committee Charter. We are providing the Finance Committee Charter for your review in advance of the Corporate Governance Committee meeting, which meets in December. The Corporate Governance Committee will review and approve all committee charters. There are no recommended changes. There are no agency fair evasion reports this month due to the unusually early board cycle this month. They will be made available for next month's meeting. And next we have David Ross with procurements for headquarters and all agencies.
Thank you, David. For headquarters, there are 5 procurement actions totaling $21,945,346. There are 2 competitive procurement actions totaling $17,140,346. The first is a sole source award to Solari Corporation for $12.5 million to provide ongoing maintenance and support of MTA's passenger information display systems. The second action modifies a contract with Bentley Systems by adding software as a service cloud subscriptions for MTA's existing suite of asset management software products. The additional cost will be about $4.6 million over the remaining 3 years of the contract.
Are there any questions? I'll make a motion to approve then. Do I have a second? All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
So there are 3 competitive actions proposed for $4,805,000. These actions extend consultant contracts with Aon Consulting, Mercer Health and Benefits, and the Siegel Company, all of which provide benefits consulting services. Replacement contracts will be solicited through a competitive RFP during the extension period.
Any questions?
Is it possible just to give us a general topic of the consulting for each of these?
Just what they do? Sure. So they've actually provided major support for us in competitive procurements that we've done, including the RFP we brought to the board earlier this year that was, the CVS award after the problems we had with the predecessor contract. They do audits of benefits that are provided through the various contracts on an ongoing basis. And they do eligibility analysis, making sure that we're paying for people that are eligible to receive benefits. So they provide a variety of supports to the different contracts.
If there are no other questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Second? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Back to you, David.
The one action item for Metro North on page 56 has been pulled from
That's pulled.
consideration this
Okay.
month. And then we'll go back to David Ross with the agency procurements.
Okay, so there are no items to report for Metro North and Long Island Railroad. Next, we have New York City Transit. There are 3 competitive procurement actions totaling $54,295,973. The first is a $38.8 million award of a design-build contract to Sitnalta TAP JV to design and construct accessibility upgrades at the 170th Street Station on the Jerome Avenue line in the Bronx. In connection with this award, approval is also sought to pay an $80,000 stipend to the one unsuccessful proposer. The next 2 actions request ratification of awards to Paul J. Scariano and FOS Development Corporation to pilot the design, installation, and maintenance of debris protection systems at 6 elevated structures for $2.8 million and $12.5 million, respectively. Awards were made to both firms in July 2019 pursuant to a declaration of immediate operating need to evaluate and implement an interim protective measure while a long-term comprehensive solution is developed.
Any questions? I'll make Commissioner Albert.
I probably should have asked this at Transit, but the procurement about securing the elevated structures and what falls from there, you mentioned didn't you? 6 elevated structures?
6 elevated structures.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's not every elevated structure we have, so are the rest of them coming at another time, or?
To determine maintenance requirements and other aspects that could take place that we want to get a full assessment of.
Okay, and how long will the test be?
It's going to go through a number of seasons. I don't know precisely. I would have to check with CPM and with subways, but it's got to be a representative period of time that can show whatever pitfalls there might be.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, there's one competitive procurement action for bridges and tunnels totaling $29,426,000. This action is for the award of a design-build contract in the amount of $29.3 million to EJ Electric Installation for electrical upgrades at the RFK facility. In connection with this award, approval is sought to pay stipends totaling $126,000 to the 4 unsuccessful proposers.
Do we have any questions? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
There are no actions for Femtech, so that concludes procurement. Back to David.
The MTA consolidated financial and operational reports begin on page 67. However, due to the unusually early board cycle this month, not all reports are being provided today. They will be presented at the December Finance Committee. Next is David Florio with the real estate item of the agenda.
There are 3 action items for your approval. One is a short-term use of the Harriman Station parking lot for private use. Other is a short-term use of one of our retail spaces here at 2 Broadway during the holiday season. And the last is a agreement for MTA bus restroom facilities in Brooklyn. There are also, as always, embedded transactions in the information item section. I'm happy to answer any questions.
David, what's the private use for the Harriman parking lot?
It's the fair across the street every year. There's a fair across the street.
Okay.
And they're using it for back office and storage.
Okay. Any other questions? I make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. All right, I guess we're done. We need a motion to adjourn. I'll make that. Second, please. I assume we're all in favor of adjourning this meeting, so we are adjourned.